Greetings, internet world. You're in the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary, and welcome to the best albums of 2026 so far. Before I started this project, I did a count. I've had a chance to listen to 127 albums so far this year. Obviously, didn't review all of those, but this list is my top 10 favorites from what I've had a chance to check out. Now, like anybody else, I'm only human. There's so much that I haven't had a chance to explore. And that's honestly my favorite part about doing a list like this one. Hearing from all of you in the comments about what really hits you the most, what your favorites are so far this year. Gives me a chance to reconsider what I need to check out down the line. And you never know, those records could end up on the big list at the end of the year when I put that together. I'll also say that 2026 has not been my favorite year for music since starting the channel back in late 2020, let's just say the beginning of 2021. It started off a little slow, but the last few months have been superb. There have been so many records that have really made a massive impression on me, including records from artists like Mitski, Tucker Zimmerman, my new band Believe, the Lemon Twigs, and Aldous Harding, just to name a few. But these are the 10 that really did it for me, that really had the biggest impact on me, and I hope you enjoy this. So without further ado, let's jump into this, starting with number 10, Dry Cleaning with Secret Love. For their third album, the London-based outfit enlisted Kate LeBon to help them execute their vision of creating a record that captures the sensory overload of moving through a big city. It's all realized through a brilliant performance from Florence Shaw, who delivers a deadpan, whimsical stream of consciousness on every track, regaling the listener with vivid tales that navigate the travails of daily life with humor and candor. Sonically, the record finds the perfect balance between the disjointed and dissonant character of their first two records and LeBon's surrealistic art pop sensibility that complements their jam-based approach to songwriting. It's not quite as brazen as their early work, but it's a record that proves they still remain committed to their unique edge as they explore new directions with their music. Key tracks include Hit My Head All Day and Let Me Grow, and You'll See the Fruit. Coming in at number 9 on this list is Sir Paul McCartney with The Boys of Dungeon Lane. The 20th studio album from the legendary Beatle is arguably his best this century, a captivating collection that plays a bit of Jekyll and Hyde. It shines with the type of youthful vigor that makes it appear as though Paul might go on forever, while the other side leans into the sentimental and reflected tone of the title, a reference to his upbringing in Liverpool and the formation of one of the most influential bands in modern music. Paul's voice is noticeably aged, but his ability to construct melodies that complement these tracks is one of the most enjoyable and compelling aspects of the record. These songs deliver on the hallmarks of his songwriting over the decades, while establishing a fresh identity in the modern music landscape. The production from Andrew Watt is outstanding as well, showcasing the best of Paul's talent as a multi-instrumentalist. Key tracks include As You Lie There and Home to Us, featuring Ringo Starr. Coming in at number 8 on this list is Olivia Rodrigo with You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. With her third studio album, the budding singer-songwriter delivers a collection of tracks that cement her status as one of the most promising young musicians to emerge in the last decade. It's arguably her most ambitious to date, with a bit of concept separating the record's two sides. The A-side operates under the title Girl So in Love, while the B-side operates under the title You Seem Pretty Sad, navigating an eclectic blend of influences while remaining committed to the exploration of a budding relationship that turns sour. There's plenty of fantastic balladry and rock and roll at play here, but my favorite aspect of the record is her foray into new wave, 80s pop, and college rock, and she makes it all her own without sounding pastiche. The music is outstanding, but it's the emotional maturity that she demonstrates that makes this record truly marvelous, creating a record that's not just grounded in teen angst, but one that is for everyone. The album also features a guest appearance from Robert Smith of The Cure on the track What's Wrong With Me, marking the first guest appearance on a Rodrigo studio album. Key tracks here include The Cure and What's Wrong With Me. In at number 7 on your list is Anjene Deatrine with Volume 2. The success of this Canadian rock duo might be the biggest anomaly in modern music. The combination of otherworldly costumes and microtonal experimental math rock is about the most unlikely combination to garner commercial success, but that is exactly what they've done, without ever intending to do so or giving a damn in the process. Their viral live performance on KEXP was released on February 5th and completely blew up the internet in a way that no band of their stature has ever done, and I imagine few will do in the future. As of the recording of this piece, that video has over 17 million hits in 5 months. That's absurd. And what followed was a level of anticipation for their second record that no other artist will match this year. Volume 2 delivers on the hype. 6 tracks at 37 minutes that are absolutely mind-blowing, blending technical instrumentals with infectious grooves that make their sound singular and undeniable. And while the music is superb, I think the most impressive aspect is the universal response it received. Even people that don't necessarily care for their style have nothing but praise to offer. I haven't read a negative thing about them yet. Key tracks include Fabianic and Sarniez. In at the number 6 spot on this list is Grace Ives with Girlfriend. This woman has come a long way from the bedroom tapes that put her on the map. And like many in life, she had to hit rock bottom to climb back to the top. The genius of this record lies in her pursuit of becoming sober, to learn to explore rather than escape, as she puts it. Grace's humility on Girlfriend is enthralling and admirable, detailing the travails of her own life to convey to her audience that anybody can fall into this kind of trap, but that we all possess the power to take back our lives if we choose to do so. The power of the record's themes are backed by her ambition to put her money where her mouth is sonically. These tracks find great balance with the minimalism that characterizes her early work and the expansive, nuanced soundscapes that demonstrate her growth as an artist. And I love the way they frame the narrative. The production here is magnificent, illuminating the constant movement of lush instrumentation that she adds to her arsenal with acuity and demanding the listener's attention. And her voice sounds more magnetic than ever, diffusing a whirlwind of emotion with various timbres. Key tracks here include My Mans and Troubles. The number 5 record on this list belongs to Pussifer with Normal Isn't. Maynard's third project was always going to be an uphill battle, with longtime fans of the singer passionately dedicated to Tool as well as A Perfect Circle. The name is somewhat frivolous, an odious portmanteau that started as a fictitious band in the Ronnie Dobbs sketch on the debut episode of Mr. Show. The antics continued years later when the band became a reality, but the commitment to an experimental style grounded in electronic and industrial elements was always going to be the biggest challenge for longtime Maynard fans. Maynard doesn't give a shit what we think, though, and legions of newfound fans have fallen in love with the project. On their 5th studio album, Pussifer shift into a sound that is more intense and guitar-driven than anything that they've done before. The album explores darker themes while navigating complex rhythms that work into intoxicating grooves, proving that this outfit has just begun to tap into its full potential. Key tracks include Thrust and Pendulum. The number 4 record on this list belongs to Rat Boys with Singin' to an Empty Chair. For over a decade now, Rat Boys have been sharpening their teeth and fine-tuning a sound that is familiar, but all their own. The group has no doubt taken a page from fellow Chicagoans Uncle Tupelo, but every album finds them settling into creative nuances that set them apart from their contemporaries. On Talking to an Empty Chair, Rat Boys not only display full control of their craft, but prove that there is no end in sight with their creative potential. The band lean into the strengths that have always defined their music, organic performances, and splendid production that allow these songs to slowly reveal their emotional depth with each listen. And at the center of it all is Julia Steiner, whose thoughtful lyricism is matched by the incredible power of her vocal performance. These songs move with confidence between big, crunchy guitars and quieter, reflective moments, allowing every track to unfold with its own unique purpose. It's a record that demands the listener's attention with its craftsmanship, heart, and an undeniable sense of authenticity. Key tracks include Anywhere and Burn It Down. The number 3 album on this list belongs to Ice Age with For Love of Grace and The Hereafter. For their 6th studio album, the Copenhagen-based rockers returned to the creative immediacy of their early work while employing the development of their songwriting process over the years. Recorded in just a week, For Love of Grace and The Hereafter thrives on its willingness to take risks. A punk record at its core that seamlessly blends gothic atmosphere, orchestral flourishes, acoustic textures, and moments of surprising beauty without ever losing its identity. I love the unique fusion of rockabilly, dance punk, country, and garage rock throughout the record as well, highlighting their continued desire to expand on their sound. The record is aggressive, urgent, and unpredictable, and despite their spur-of-the-moment approach, every song feels meticulously crafted, building toward memorable choruses and emotionally resonant climaxes that reward repeat listens. Lead singer Elias Ronenfeld is at the top of his game, delivering arguably his best vocal performance to date. His melodies mix beautifully into the rollicking grooves and infectious layers of guitar that don't let up for a spellbinding 41 minutes. Key tracks include No Fear and Lifetime. The number 2 record on this list belongs to Squeeze with Trixies. 50 years after shelving their first project as a duo, Chris Difford and Glenn Tilbrook revisit a collection of songs that they admit were just too sophisticated for them to execute on record, songs that were written when both men were still just teenagers. An illustrious and influential career spurred the impetus to revisit Trixies, an album that feels like a time capsule, transporting the listener back to an era when concept albums had completely taken hold of the rock and roll landscape. The duo brilliantly immersed the listener in a tale of working-class ruffians, gangsters, lounge singers, suspicious detectives, and other figures that all feel right at home in this seedy underbelly. And it's immediate from the very second that you drop the needle on this record. The rich storytelling unfolds within a complex collection of songs that have beautiful continuity, tapping into the band's foundational roots of proto-punk and pub rock that also weren't afraid to indulge in glam rock and new wave amongst many other influences. The cabaret aesthetic also suits the concept of this album brilliantly. The genius is that while all these elements now feel familiar, the album still comes off as fresh and experimental, proof that the sophistication that their songwriting has adopted over the years is precisely what this project needed in order to be executed to its full potential. Key tracks include The Place We Call Mars and Trixies Part 1, and that leads us in to our number 1 record, which belongs to the Twilight Sad with It's the Long Goodbye. Robert Smith has been a hot commodity recently, collaborating with Olivia Rodrigo and the Rolling Stones on their new records, but these contributions pale in comparison to his work with the Twilight Sad, and just the overall magnitude of his influence on the duo. His support has been particularly instrumental over the last few years, with James Alexander Graham enduring hardship with his mental health and the loss of his mother to dementia. His overwhelming sense of grief is immediate on It's the Long Goodbye. The title alone alludes to the dread of holding on to something when you know it's over, and Open or Get Away From It All unfolds with such care to ensure that this record is rooted in an emotional journey that runs deeper than simply wanting to escape. It's about trying to find a way to put the pieces back together, to find peace and clarity when life is at its most challenging. The duo of Graham and Andy McFarlane navigate this journey through the most majestic sonic experience that they've conceived of to date, bringing massive drums and seismic waves of guitars that will ensure the intensity of their live performances. They're not afraid to let the album smolder at key moments, though, with tracks like Dead Flowers and Back to 14 showcasing a vulnerability that highlights their versatility while adding to the intensity of their blistering sound. Robert Smith was right. This is arguably the best live band out there at the moment, and they back it up by delivering what I think is the best album of 2026 so far. Key tracks include Opener, Get Away From It All, and Dead Flowers, and there it is. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I want to thank you all for checking out this list. I want to thank you all for allowing me some space over the last few months. I disappeared on all of you, didn't leave a message on the message board or anything like that, but as I've built this community over the years, I trust in you guys, and it's great to see you all trust in me and just give me that space. I might put a piece together about just what was going on. A lot of good things, some, nothing really bad, just trying to find a way to hit the reset button and trying to find a way to push this channel into a new direction, into a direction that is more creative, that just has more ingenuity than what I've been doing it. I love the album review aspect of this channel, but I'd really like to dabble in more, and time had been a factor as well over the last few months. Also, just got really busy with work and a handful of other things. But I just want to say that I appreciate all of you. I hope you're all well. I hope you all had a great 4th of July. And I will be easing back into the channel in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for those album reviews, and we'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.